today, you'll be receiving from a message full of God's power to help you become everything that God has created you to be. You know, God sent his son, Jesus, to die for you to have a life of abundance and for you to be an ambassador for him. What does that mean? That your life should represent his goodness. It's time to be about it. Tune in today's message and you'll be blessed.
At times that even really hurts people's ability to communicate, because you're always thinking the worst because you've yet to take the time to get before God and get your insecurities dealt with, your value dealt with God. Other people were not meant to make you feel valuable. Now, it's nice. It's nice if people appreciate you. It's nice if people compliment you. That's the icing on the cake, but that's not the cake. You ought to show up with the cake by itself. So you can have your own party, whether somebody else puts their icing or their sprinkles on it or not. It is bondage to have your life be put into, your happiness and your joy be put into the hands of people. It's also bondage to be caught up in what happened to you umpteen years ago, 3 months ago, a week ago, yesterday, and be caught up in that, letting that change your personality, which affects the rest of your life and your ability to have positive relationships. So we're going to pick up right here. I'm going to ask you to turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. A lot of people call this the love chapter. And we're going to close out here in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Now, I love this because this is a very, 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 very practical passage of God's word. What I mean when I say practical, you can take the 4 scriptures we're getting ready to go through tonight and work any relationship that comes your way, whether that's a coworker, boss, whether that's extended family, whether that's you and your kids, whether that's your marriage. Any and everything that you deal with can be addressed here in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I'm going to start from verse 1 just for review's sake. It says, "Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and I have not love, I am become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains," wow, "and have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not love, it profiteth me nothing." Wow, there's a whole lot said there, but for sake of time, I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to start with verse 4. It says, charity suffereth long, and is kind. It envieth not, charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up. Let's talk about the first point here, and that is simply this: love is patient. It says that it suffers long. Now, here's the other thing I want to kind of say about that. You know, I know oftentimes the word patient is not the word we want to hear, especially in this generation right now and what we're used to. Technology has made us, I want it now and I want it instantly. You can almost do anything from your phones now. In fact, you can download stuff or watch movies instantly from your phone, all these different sorts of things. Microwaves have gotten us used to this kind of instant results. But I want to caution you here that you don't take that same mentality into your relationships. Love being patient also means allowing others to grow in the relationship with you. How many of you know you have flaws? Okay. How many of you know you have some issues? Keep your hand up. Everybody look around. Okay. How many of you know you especially have issues when you're having a bad day? Can put your hand down. How many of you know you have issues when you're not having a bad day? So it's important that when you have relationships that you need to practice patience in those relationships. I'll especially kind of give an example even with marriage. There are certain things that I am very, very good at. There are certain things that I noticed in my own marriage that I have to be a little bit more patient with my husband on, and there are things that he has to be patient with me on. I remember when we first had our baby boy, it became extremely evident to me our strengths and weaknesses because I am very detailed. Most women are. And my husband is more big picture. So if I would say, honey, I want you to do this, make sure you put the diaper on this time, make sure that you have the milk at this temperature, and you do all this, and I had it laid out. All of my directions, all of my instructions, I could lay it out. Make sure when you wash the bottles, you put it on the sterilizer, and you do this with this, and make sure you put the bottle caps at the bottom, and then the bottle open, then the nipples on the top, and that's all you got to do. But I would notice as I was going through my long instructions, it was almost like the eyes were rolling back in his head a little bit. And I'd be like, are you listening to me? Yeah, babe, I'm listening. And sure enough, I'd come home and I'd be like, that's not what I said. See, this is why I'm talking about you ought to listen to me. That's not what I said. It's a baby. You got to be detailed. No. Love is patient. And even though it might have been instant for me to kind of pick up some of the changes that came in our house, I could either nag him to death of the relationship. For those of y'all who are like, that's a bad confession, but of the relationship. I could point out every single thing he's doing wrong, or I could allow him to grow in that area. Now, likewise, I'm wasting all this time telling him all these details, and some of that stuff don't matter. And he could come back on me like, look, woman, it don't take all that. Stop telling me what to do. This is my child too. And again, if either one of us had taken that impatient response to each other, the motive was to take care and love our child, could have turned into an argument and went on for weeks and weeks, or took coins out of a love bank, all because we were impatient.
I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I want to encourage you to subscribe. Also, share with your friends. People need encouragement, especially those, you may know some people who are really going through. Go on and share this podcast with them. I also want to encourage you to visit our website. We've got some material that can help you. That's michelleferguson.org. And as always, I'm Michelle Ferguson, helping you to discover, develop, and celebrate who God has created you to be. Look forward to seeing you next time.